Welcome to the Betrayal Trauma Recovery Bookshelf, a space for women healing from betrayal to reconnect with their mind, body, and soul, one page at a time. I'm Rachel Strong Smith, a betrayal trauma coach who's walked this path myself. In each episode, we'll explore books that speak to the heart of recovery, books that validate your experience, offer insight, and remind you that you're not alone. This isn't about fixing yourself. It's about coming home to yourself. So, whether you're in the thick of survival or finding your way back to solid ground, pull up a chair. You're in the right place. Hi, welcome back to the Betrayal Trauma Recovery Bookshelf. We are continuing our conversation with Tammy Gustafson. Hi, Tammy. Welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me back.
And we are talking about your book that is coming out January 27th, Broken to Brave. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Show us the book
Yes.
cover. Oh, it hasn't come.
Look, here's the cover, and it's like this pretty shiny sheen on it too. I love it.
That is so beautiful. Tammy, I am so happy to have you here. I'm going to read a little bit about Tammy and introduce her. I hope you get a chance to listen to our part one and get a little bit more information there too. But Tammy is a trauma informed, licensed professional counselor, coach, and speaker with over 15 years of experience. She holds a master's degree in counseling and is the founder and CEO of Betrayal Healing and Live Free Counseling. Tammy hosts the annual Betrayal Healing Conference, which is coming up, right?
Yep, January 26th through the 30th.
That's right. And so it is coming. So this should air before it's there. So head on over to, you said betrayalhealingconference.com. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. And it is a fabulous, fabulous conference. I just want to put a plug in here for that. Providing compassionate, expert guidance to thousands of betrayed partners worldwide. It is an amazing resource. Thank you for putting that on.
Absolutely.
Mm. Let's dive in to your book. Let's keep talking. So, again, circle back to part one because you're not going to want to miss that. But let's talk about boundaries. Oh, I'm so excited to talk about this. And we could talk probably the whole podcast about boundaries. But I love your concept of personal circle. And how have you seen that help betrayed partners separate what's theirs, what belongs to their partner? Like, how does this personal circle work?
Yeah, well, I don't think most of us were ever taught how to do boundaries,
No.
or maybe even taught that we should. A lot of times there's this language of boundaries are bad and they're selfish and they're punishing and all this kind of stuff. And so I'll speak for myself. I came into like this whole boundary thing with a lot of baggage about it. And and part of it too is we don't really know. We're like, ooh, like I definitely feel like I should set a boundary, but like what should I set and where should I set it? And well, I don't know, maybe right about here, I'll try this. And then we kind of build the boundary, build the wall, because that's all we really know of it. And then it gets pushed against and it falls over. And then we're like, well, now what? Now what am I supposed to do? It didn't work, right? And so the way I like to do boundaries is and you're right, I'm gonna have to make this short because we could talk the whole time about this. But this idea of if you put your arms out like you're hugging a tree, right? And in here is everything that makes you you. Your hopes, your dreams, your fears, your successes, your failures, your emotions, your reactions, your favorite ice cream, all that kind of stuff, right? And like this is where you end and where the rest of the world begins. And it's our job to kind of figure out what is in our circle. That's kind of the idea of who am I knowing myself, right? And then to nurture that, to take responsibility to care for that. And here's the deal. Everybody else has a circle too, right? And so when you start to realize like, okay, my emotions are in here. So like I have to love on that. I have to care for myself, but that also means that my husband's emotions are not in here. They're in his and his reactions and how he responds. That's actually not my responsibility. That's actually in his circle because I'm taking responsibility for mine. And that's actually, he needs to take responsibility for his. And that applies to everything, right? But this idea of setting a boundary really, I kind of reframe it to go, if something happens and you're like, whoa, all right, like time out. Like I kind of envision this like hood coming down and I'm in my circle and I'm like, what just happened? Okay, how do I feel about it? And then the most important question is, especially for betrayed partners, what do I need to feel safe?
Mm.
And when you connect with that and you connect to your circle and you're asking yourself, what do I need? He just blew up when I asked him about his fair partner. He came home late from work and I asked him not to. Like whatever the case may be, you can come back in and go, okay, what do I need to feel safe? Okay, what do I need? Like he just blew up at me and that was kind of scary. His anger was scary. And I'm also mad, but I'm scared about it. And so like I need to go for a drive. That's what I need. I need to go for a drive and I need him to spend the night at his parents' house or whatever the case may be, you know? And so when you recognize like what do I need to feel safe, you connect with yourself and then you put that into words, that naturally becomes a boundary.
Mm.
And that comes from a much more solid, rooted place for your safety. And then put the, I mean, obviously there's more conversations. What if he doesn't do it X, Y, and Z? We can, that's another topic. But that rootedness and that it coming from a place of connecting with yourself and what you need to feel safe and then putting that into words to him, that is kind of at the heart and core of how I like to approach boundaries.
I love that so much. So, so much. I I have so many things because I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Because it's this concept of foundation to grow the boundaries instead of like an outward in, it's an inward out. And I loved how you said they naturally flow. And so, this idea of boundary work, the way that I talk about it with my clients is I'm like, so it's actually values and Bill of Rights work first. That's what is the foundation for boundaries because it's that same, okay, I need a boundary. And it's like, okay, yeah, let's go into the foundation work. Find you in there, and this is a constant readdressing, coming back. Like it's not a, okay, I found it all. Now I can set the boundaries. It's, I found this one piece. Okay, the boundary naturally flows from that. And finding that, oh, this is my emotion. This is what I'm experiencing. Then you can find what you need around it. But that part, that's the part we get disconnected from in the betrayal. I mean, I didn't even know how disconnected I was from that. And that was really the work before. Because do you want to hear a funny boundary story?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm like fresh into this journey. Okay, like, so the anger got me into the recovery rooms. I was like, okay, I'm doing something else now. So I'm in there and I'm like listening to things and I'm like, okay. And I hear this like, well, yeah, you can have a boundary around that. I'm like, he's not doing the work. I told him he needs to go to therapy. And I don't even know who said it, where I heard it. It's like, well, yeah, you can have a boundary around that. And I was like, oh, I can have a boundary around that. Okay. So I like march myself in and I'm like, well, that's it. You're going to therapy. I have a boundary around that. And I mean, what do you think that? No, I mean, and he's like, no, I will not. And so now I'm like, yes, you will, because I'm going to say that you are, well, fine, I'll do it, but I'll resent you. Fine, that's fine. I don't even care. Right. So it's just, and to be fair to myself and self compassionate to myself, right? I didn't know. I was scared. I was in survival. Like this
Totally.
was, I'm like trying to find something and I tried something, right? And so I like drive off because I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And I call, actually, it was my dad who was a very supportive person for me. And he was like, yeah, yeah, you're really wanting this to go that way. I get it. I get it. Maybe it's time to just let go a little bit. And it was like, okay. And so then fast forward. So now I'm like really like, okay, that wasn't quite how I wanted to show up. Fast forward. And then so I'm starting to like set little boundaries. My first boundary was I will walk away from unproductive conversations. That was my very first boundary.
Beautiful.
And started doing that, right? So then he starts seeing that these are changing. And I'm like feeling more grounded and more aligned. Like, I'm like, no, this really is not working for me. And so then he comes, he's like, all right, fine. I've been thinking about it. Let's go to couples therapy. And I was like, oh, no, I won't be doing that. Like, I'd now learned enough that, like, no, that's not like, I won't be doing that unless, like, we're both in individual therapy for however long, like, till it feels right. And so now he is like, and I was like, yeah, no, that just isn't going to work. And there, like, it just shifted
Good for
because it
you.
became from me. I was like, no, that's not going to work for me. I know what that path is going to do. And I've done couples therapy with you. No, I don't want to do that.
Beautiful. You know what I love in that story too is that it was like this progression of you finding your voice as well. And I think that is such a beautiful thing. And sometimes, like, I love the fact that you went in and you did it and like it doesn't have to be perfect, right? And when we're trying to find our voice, sometimes we overshoot and undershoot. But I love because obviously you found your voice. You know, that oh, there's so many things I love about that story.
I love that I can share that with you. Oh man. So boundaries, huge, big, so much. And having that visual symbol of a personal circle, that is critical. And that's the foundational work.
You know, one other thing that I've just started like paying more attention to is that it also allows for flexibility.
Thank you for saying that. Yes.
Because
Yes.
I think sometimes, and I honestly, I mean, I've been doing this for so long, and I recently, like, somebody mentioned this. I was like, oh, that's a really good point, right? Because it's like, because sometimes we set boundaries, and then it's like, well, when do I need to, like, when do I stop having this boundary? And it can become very confusing then too, right?
Mhm.
And so, but if you stay connected with yourself, if you stay connected with what you need, if you stay connected with what you need to feel safe, if you no longer need that to feel safe, then you no longer need to do it, right? And if he is becoming more safe, like if you ground it in that, what do I need and what I need to feel safe? It's like, oh, okay, I can maybe let that one come down. So it just helps with flexibility too.
I that when I first, man, I have so many boundary stories actually. I won't get into this one, but I will just say as an overview, yes, that was because I started with like, okay, and it was an outside in, right? Like, okay, if
Sure,
he does this, then I will do that, right? And it's like, and that's
totally.
fine. That's a start. And now my boundaries are, I mean, I literally have like one boundary, and it is I will do whatever I need to do for myself to keep myself feeling safe.
Hmm,
That like that is the and that is still and
beautiful.
that applies to I still have triggers. I still have trauma triggers, absolutely. And so when that comes up, I'm like, even if he is solid in his work and his recovery and showing up, and I'm like, whoa, I am not feeling good. I'm not feeling safe. And I'm like, what do I need? And I'm like, I need some space. I need some time. I need to process this. Whatever I need. And that's what I need. And then there it is. And then it's tons of information. If he starts pushing on that, well, now that is a ton of information. And
Totally.
when he shows up in safety and like, oh, I respect, like, I'm glad that you're taking care of yourself, right? Then that's so it shifts from ticky tacky. Like I had a whole list that I was if right, and now it's like oh yeah, I will do whatever I need to do.
Yeah. And that list of if is not wrong or bad either,
No.
especially in the beginning. Like, man, if you're early on this journey, you have that list. It's really
Oh yeah.
important. But I
Yeah.
love how it's right. But I love how it's morphed and shifted over time. And I feel like that's so true, right? As you find your strength, as you find your voice, like everything just kind of morphs and grows. And it's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah. And I had to go through every step that I went through. Like I tell that funny boundary story, not to shame myself or say I shouldn't have done that, but because that contrast that I experienced helped in my learning, my growth, my refining. And I'm so grateful for these contrasts. I'm so grateful that I did do those things and try them and I wasn't silly for doing that. It's like, yes, I found a piece of me in that.
Yes, totally.
Mhm. Oh man. Okay. I think we're like one more question. Like, but I love this. I will just touch on that you talked about those three relationship paths and, redemption, roommate, divorce. That is so I think that out of all the things in the book, I was like, "Oh, to voice that, I have not ever seen that before." So do you want to just kind of go into that a little bit before we say goodbye?
Yeah, well, I think the healing path and the divorce path are I think we all have a box for that. We all get it, right? And there's support, there's a lot of support. In fact, there's a lot of support and kind of trajectory in the healing world for the coupleship, right?
Mhm.
And so there's help and there's past and there's books and there all that kind of stuff on that. The divorce, we get that.
Mhm.
We get that one too. It's the roommate path. Those are the ones that are overlooked. Those are the ones where there's really no groups for that. There's definitely no books around it. There's no and the reality is I think this is a huge percentage of women who have been betrayed. And where I see that happening a lot is when, or an indicator that you're maybe there is when you're looking for the magic bullet, when you have a whole list of all the therapists you've gone to, all the best names in the industry, and it's still you're looking for, like, if I can just get somebody, maybe somebody can break through to him. That's that indication that you're probably in that roommate path. And this is the group of women that I am most concerned about because this is a group of women where I see their lights dimming and going out. And to me, that is the single most tragic thing that could happen because you've got one life to live. And if it gets to the point where you're like, you know what, this is just what it is, and I'm just going to kind of, I'm just going to let it be what it is. I'm going to just kind of fade out and survive. And I'm not shaming that. There's no shame and judgment in that. But man, I want to grab that spark before it goes out and fan that flame and go, no, you have great worth and value. You matter. You matter. And you get to make a life that is good for you, even if he is not. And so it is possible to thrive, but it's very difficult and it requires a lot of work. And I've seen a few people who have done this. And I interviewed one of them. She was so gracious to let me interview her in this book because I want to give the message and I want you to see from her own words that it is possible to give hope, even if your husband isn't doing the work. And there's a lot of really legit reasons why women stay.
Yeah.
Really legit. Some financially cannot do it, right? Some have kids and they're like, I am holding my kids' hearts. I don't want to break their hearts. I don't want to X, Y, or Z. I don't want that divorce for them. And man, I just have so much compassion and respect for that. So there's so many legit reasons why you stay, and there is no shame in that. And you're going to have to take very, very good care of yourself, and you're going to have to lean hard into the good things of life. And healthy detachment is going to have to be the name of the game for you, but you can do it.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that so much because it's true, this whole area that doesn't get addressed because it feels like a black and white path. Like either you divorce or you stay and you heal. And it's like there is actually a huge spectrum. And that's why foundationally knowing you, knowing your values, knowing what you need, where you are to make those decisions for yourself and then feel aligned in them. That because so often, even supportive friends or family, why are you still staying? Or why did you leave? Right? Like all even that. And it's like, actually, each person, like I really respect that each woman knows intuitively what they need in these moments and that it's just a matter of finding it. Yeah. Mm. Okay. Well, just to close out, what would you like to say to women who are maybe they're in the initial stages, maybe they're in the shock phase, maybe they're in the middle stages, or maybe the end, like, end? Okay, let's just
I
never.
know
I
what you
nope,
mean.
not end. That's coming from when I wished there was an end. But that rebuild phase. I'm in the rebuild phase. I still circle back to these other phases to revisit them. They come up in different ways to heal, right? Okay, so what is something that you wanted to say?
Oh man, so many. First of all,
Mhm.
you have great worth and value. You have great worth and value. That is not determined by what your husband, your partner has done or not done. You have great worth and value. And it is possible to heal. But you're right. I think we all want there to be a finish line, and we want there to be like, okay, here's the mark, here's the line where now I am quote unquote healed. Right. And I just want to very compassionately maybe give a different way of looking at that. Is that as time goes on, like it is excruciating in the beginning. It is so hard. You're in there wrestling in the rumble and all that kind of stuff. Like there is a lot, but you do grow. You can grow. You can get stronger. And you get to this place where there's kind of this morphing where it goes from healing to actually just growing.
Mm,
And for me, I look at it, I don't feel like I'm healing anymore. But I feel like over time, what I've learned is that I want to be the best version of me, period. No matter what's going on in my life or in my marriage or in my friendships or in my business, like I want to be the best version of me. So the focus has morphed and shifted as I've grown. And now it's just, I always want to be a person who is growing, who is leaning more into compassion for myself, who is when things come up is doing my best to look at those openly and not to reject myself for the parts that are really really messy, right? And just to heal those. And so now I'm in this place where I'm okay when things come up, or I try to be, as best I can,
mhm.
right? And just be in that place of I want to continue to grow and heal any part of me that needs to heal because it feels good to heal, because it feels good to grow, because it feels good to lean more and more into self acceptance, even when that's hard. So I just offer that to everybody listening. And
Mm,
you can have a beautiful, empowered life after betrayal. I am by far a different person than I was before. And I'm so proud of who I am now and who I'm becoming. And you can have that too. You can do it.
I love those words of encouragement. And I really love that reframe of the growing continues. Because I remember that point in recovery where I was like, I was hoping for that, like, boom, now I'm done. And now
Yeah.
I can go back to just like, kind of being a little unconscious for a while. And I found, oh, I don't want to. I don't want to be unconscious. I want to keep going. I want to keep doing this. And I thought it would feel stifling or overwhelming or scary. And it actually has become more of this empowering, like it feels good. And there are things that come up always. And it's like the things that I learned and grew and refined in this messy, messy process are the very things that now I rely on again for these next things that come up in my life. Yeah, it is. It's a journey. Oh man. And actually, you know what? I'm going to put just a little plug for something I've got going on. I have created a framework that follows this heroine's journey I mean, it's a similar kind of like, this is what it looks like. This is what we go into, and that empowerment that, yes, we can do this. And so I've got a group coming up in January. So I'll put links to that as well because I found that having that roadmap has been so helpful. And thank you for your book. Thank you for creating it and putting it out in the world.
You're welcome. I uh I hope it will be helpful and encouraging and
Yeah.
empowering.
And empowering, yes, yes. And that is again coming out January 27th. And you can order it right now as a pre order, right?
That's right. Yep.
And I would encourage everyone take a look at that. Really, it's one that I'm putting 5 stars, 2 thumbs up. Well, Tammy, I really appreciate your time with us. And listeners, thank you for being here. And as always, just take what resonates and leave the rest. Bye bye. Thanks for joining me today on the Betrayal Trauma Recovery Bookshelf. If something from this episode spoke to you, share it with a friend or come connect with me online. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Rachel Strong Smith. And if you want to go deeper, sign up for my email newsletter, where I share grounded support, personal insights, and practical tools to help you reconnect with yourself. Remember, healing isn't a straight line, it's a spiral, and every step towards yourself matters. So, until next time, take gentle care.